Hey everybody, welcome to Breakfast All Day. Alonso here with Matt and Christy. This year at Sundance, one of the most talked about documentaries was Rita Moreno, Just a Girl Who Decided to Go For It. It is now hitting theaters, and Matt's going to tell you what it's all about.
It's about Rita Moreno. Rita Moreno, who was born in Puerto Rico, and she and her mother moved to the U.S., and she broke into show business, went to her first audition, made up to look like Elizabeth Taylor, and sure enough, she gets told she looks like a Puerto Rican Liz Taylor. She struggled to find work outside of ethnic roles. Yes, she would play Puerto Rican, but she would just be the kind of random, foreign, exotic girl. This movie talks to her a lot. She's definitely participating in this, and it's fairly, she's definitely open and honest. Like she even, she talks about, she lets him film her putting her makeup on and how she hates to appear without it. We learn a lot about her career. She's pretty honest about some of the, even an assault, a rape she went through. This is a powerful movie. It gets a lot of people who understand the history of what she had done, and then some other folks like Lin-Manuel Miranda and
Norman Lear,
but also I can't remember the other actress's name. Like America Ferrara talks about. There's a lot of other Latinx talent that talks about her impact. This is a great look back. It's, part of the American Masters series. And I wouldn't say that this is exactly a warts and all documentary, but it is very good. And, look, Rita Moreno.
It's wartier than most, given how much
it is wartier than most.
Because she makes it wartier. She introduces a lot of really candid, disarming stuff in this.
Yeah, she'll talk about like her marriage and about the sexual assault and about racism in Hollywood, and it's like I was kind of surprised by this because we've complained so often about so many of these movies that just kind of feel like infomercials, and it's like, Rita Moreno comes off great, but like Rita Moreno is a legend and she is a groundbreaker, but like the movie, she will cop to stuff along the way, which I thought, like, I love, I think celebs of a certain age, and especially like if they've already written the memoir, they're like, they have zero fucks left. And so they're just going to tell you everything and go through it and be like, I did that and I shouldn't have, or whatever, So yeah, I just, I think just as a show business story, it's so interesting. I mean, it took me a good 5 viewings of like Singing in the Rain as a kid to finally go, wait, is that Rita Moreno? Like, it just didn't even dawn on me that she was alive then. Like, I knew her from the Electric Company. So to find out that she was like singing for the troops during World War II, it's like, oh my God, this woman has been around forever. And she's still like full of energy and looking great and doing all this amazing stuff. So I don't know.
She is 89.
Yeah, I dug it. I think that it's a really fascinating portrait and just a really cool look at, she came along at a really interesting time in the industry and went through a lot of things. I have one big exclusion that I was sort of wondering why they didn't talk about, and that's Carnal Knowledge.
Oh.
She has that big scene with Jack Nicholson, and it's like, that was a big movie, and it was Mike Nichols and Jack Nicholson. It's like, it seemed odd that didn't come up, and I don't know if maybe that'll be a DVD extra one of these days, but the Brando stuff, I did not know. That was fascinating.
I didn't know a lot about her, but I so appreciate her vibrancy and her candor, like the fact that she is willing to talk very plainly about what her marriage was and what it wasn't, especially given that her daughter also is very involved in this film on camera, so that they are willing to explore the truth of that. I mean, her ex-husband has died, but still, like, this is her only child and they're very close. And so I appreciate that they are willing to tell the truth about that part of their lives. And some of the stories she tells, they're appalling, but they still happen today. Like the way that executives would approach her at parties and say like, God, I'd like to fuck you and things like that. I mean, that shit still happens. Like awful men in power still treat women horribly. And so it's awful. I appreciate that she's talking about how far back that existed and just the way that she was pigeonholed. We talked about this a bit during our news segment, just the way that she was like pigeonholed for so long. And then like West Side Story came along, and she loved the over the top nature of it, and then also received a bit of backlash for the over the top nature of it. Like, not all Puerto Ricans are like this,
Right.
and the fact that she sings like "I want to be in America."
Right. But then she
What
also
does that mean? She explains.
she talks about the original line.
Right.
She talks about the original opening of the song that got changed, and
Yeah, about where Anita disses Puerto Rico. Yeah, but until that movie, you're right. She got stuck in, like, she's in The King and I playing, like, I'm not even sure what Asian nationality that character Princess Tuptim is, or like, movies where like she'd be playing like, indigenous American or whatever. It's that Anthony Quinn thing of like, well, we can just like, depending on which shade of bronzer we put on you, you could be anything,
Yeah, she joked that her makeup was the color of mud.
Yes.
yeah. Or
But then
like
you see, go ahead.
Eva Longoria talks about like, she's also someone who gets to comment like, can you be more spicy? And Longoria's like, what does spicy mean? Right?
Yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say. And then you see her on set at One Day at a Time.
Yeah.
And how that has allowed her to connect with a whole new generation of people, and just shows how totally spry and sparky she still is at age 89, and how beloved. She's an EGOT, one of very few EGOTs out there. So Whoopi Goldberg is also interviewed in this as a fellow EGOT.
And I love Goldberg's like, yeah, it was just the work. Like, it wasn't a thing. Like, not that it is now. Like, you just were doing your thing and people liked the work. I also like they include that bit where the guy's doing the clapper and he walks off and Moreno's like, oh, he's cute.
She's so cute. So Matt, you interviewed Rita Moreno this week, right?
I interviewed her last week. She is a goddamn delight. Yeah, she, I said hello. I said, I'm sure you've heard this all day, but it is an honor to talk to you. She's like, actually, that never gets old to hear. So, yeah, I really like this movie, and I'm glad we're talking about it. I think it's really worth seeing. Yes, she put her foot in her mouth earlier in the week. She's apologized for it. This is a great look at someone who plugged away forever, and even after winning an Oscar, like the irony is she talks about like she didn't work. Like she wasn't doing any more movies after that. She wasn't getting offers. Then she pivots and does the electric company, which is a whole other section of her career.
That's where she got her G.
Right. And then you get
she got her E for the Muppet Show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fascinating. It's just a fascinating look at a great career by somebody who has a lot of candor. The line she has on stage talking about Marlon Brando is hilarious. Yeah, she's got funny stories to tell, heartbreaking, horrifying stories to tell, and I think it's a great look at an icon.
Yeah. And this is one of, the many, many flattering documentaries that we have seen recently. I just watched the Wolfgang Puck documentary that comes out next week on Disney+.
I haven't seen that yet.
Because that's I'm doing it for radio next week. But that is also the same kind of thing where like he's totally involved in the production of it, and so it glosses over some stuff and makes him seem like a genius and an icon, and he is a genius and an icon, and yet there's other stuff going on too. So this feels a little more well-rounded than a lot of those singularly celebratory documentaries.
Yeah, agreed, for sure. I would also recommend, if folks want to know more about the Ritz, which is her tea, and her collaboration and friendship with Terrence McNally. There's an American Masters doc about him called Every Act of Life. It's on Amazon Prime. She's got some more good stuff in it. I got to do a Q&A with her at Outfest for that movie. And yeah, it's worth a look. But yeah, I like this movie a lot.
I did too. Also, FYI, I did try to get Ben to come and join us today to talk about the Rita Moreno documentary, since he has dealt with her so much, and a lot of this is his oeuvre. He is busy right now getting ready for a Carol Burnett interview for the TCM podcast. So Ben is too busy for us, but he wanted to join us. So there you go. I'm saying 8.3.
Did I say 8.5?
You did.
Okay, 8.5.
Yeah, I'm saying 8.
Okay, so 8.3 is our number. Rita Moreno, just a girl who decided to go for it, I believe is only out theatrically.
Only in theaters right now, but I'm sure we'll be streaming pretty soon. But yeah, so check that out. Thanks for watching. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us at BeFast All Day on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Do visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. We are wrapping up an incredible season of Handmaid's Tale, digging into Loki on Disney Plus. Next week, we'll have our monthly Off the Menu. So much cool stuff that only our subscribers get to enjoy. So become one of them. Patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Christy, the time is running out. Where are we with Marvel Monday?
It's so sad. We're almost done. We are up to Ant-Man and the Wasp next week, which is comparatively minor, but is a nice little palate cleanser after the intensity of Infinity War. And it has kind of a knockout shawarma. Ant-Man and the Wasp does.
Very much so.
Do you remember what happens?
I do. It sets up Endgame, right?
It shows you where this movie takes place within the context of Infinity War and Endgame.
Right,
because the last end credit scene, like the snap has happened.
Yes.
And Scott gets stuck in the quantum realm. Anyway, I was like, when I first saw that, I was like, oh, how's he going to get back?
I always remember the person who talks about, that old song, Solid as a Rock, and he knows like Ant-Man and the Wasp.
So that is next week, Ant-Man.
Cool. Now, are you guys going to circle back and do a Black Widow in sequence, or how's that going to go?
So we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then Captain Marvel, and then Endgame, and then Far From Home.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, we're going to be like a week late on Black Widow, because I think Black Widow comes out on July 9th.
Gotcha.
And that week is our Spider-Man Far From Home week. So we're going to be a week late on Black Widow.
We'll do Black Widow on time. Y'all will get to it.
We will. Nick and I will go. I'm taking Nick out of swim practice to go schlep up to the big city and go see Black Widow. We are very excited.
Well, all right. Awesome. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We appreciate you tuning in. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you next time.